Ladies and gentlemen, destiny is not a mystery, it is a result. The future you walk into tomorrow is being built by the decisions you make today, not the big decisions once in a while, but the small habits you repeat every day. We often talk about dreams. We talk about purpose. We talk about destiny, and many people believe that the future is something that will arrive one day, maybe through luck, maybe through prayer, maybe through the right opportunity. But the truth is far simpler, far clearer, and far more powerful than that. Your future is not coming to you, it's growing from you. It's being built not by giant decisions once in a while, but by small, consistent habits repeated every day. Let me say this plainly, habit is the seed of destiny. Just like a seed knows what it will become, the tree is inside the seed. Your habits already carry the blueprint of your future. You don't have to predict the future. Just observe your daily behavior because it's already showing you where you're going. A man doesn't wake up successful by accident. A woman doesn't stumble into greatness. Destiny is the harvest of decisions, and habits are the daily seeds we sow. We all admire those who seem to live with discipline, focus, and excellence. But none of them were born that way. They simply made small decisions over and over again that aligned with where they wanted to go. Your life is not shaped in the extraordinary moments, it is shaped in the ordinary ones. The way you wake up, the way you speak, the way you manage your time when no one's watching, these are not just actions. They are investments, and every investment has a return. Here's the powerful truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. You can declare that you want to be successful. You can write goals on the wall, speak affirmations in the mirror, pray for favor, and surround yourself with vision boards, but if your habits don't align with that vision, it's only a matter of time before frustration settles in. Why? Because intention without discipline is deception. You cannot harvest corn if you planted weeds, and you cannot live a future of excellence if you're building it with lazy habits. Now I understand we live in a time where people want instant results. We want change and we want it now, but seeds don't grow in a day. Habits don't change overnight. The key is not perfection, it's repetition. You don't need to be extraordinary once. You need to be consistent every day. The future belongs to those who understand that destiny is not magic, it's management. It's managing your thoughts, your time, your energy, your priorities. If you want to know what your life will look like 5 years from now, don't look at your dreams. Look at your daily habits. Look at your routines. Look at your thinking patterns, your discipline, your focus. Because the life you're building is not being shaped someday. It's being shaped today through repetition, through small decisions, through ordinary disciplines that compound over time. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are simply standing in the middle of your patterns, and the good news is, patterns can be changed, habits can be rebuilt. And when you change the seed, you change the harvest. Change your habits, and you will redirect your future. Because habit, not hope, is the seed of destiny. There's something subtle, something quiet, something dangerous that happens in our daily lives, not through the things we do loudly, but through the things we allow silently. We often think our future is being shaped by the big moments, by decisions made on stages or in meetings, but the truth is, your future is also shaped by the compromises you allow in private, the small things you excuse, the standards you lower, the things you tolerate, because whatever you tolerate, you empower. Every time you let something slide, not because you didn't notice, but because you chose to do nothing about it, you give it power over your life. When you tolerate lateness, you train yourself to be unreliable. When you tolerate negative thoughts, you give fear a seat in your mind. When you tolerate mediocrity, excellence becomes optional. And when excellence becomes optional, success becomes accidental or worse, unreachable. You see, tolerance isn't always a virtue. In fact, in the wrong context, it becomes a silent agreement with decline, and decline never announces itself. It never walks in with noise or warning. It enters quietly through habits you stop correcting, disciplines you stop enforcing, and boundaries you stop protecting. That's how lives unravel, not in a moment, but through gradual permission. Most people aren't destroyed by sudden failures. They're worn down by subtle compromises. It's not one missed workout, it's the habit of justifying it. It's not one day of procrastination, it's the growing comfort with delay. It's not one disrespectful comment in a relationship, it's the silence that allows it to continue. And here's the painful truth. Every time you tolerate something beneath your standard, you teach yourself to live beneath your potential. And what you live with long enough, you start calling normal. But don't confuse familiar with acceptable. Just because it doesn't bother you anymore doesn't mean it's good for you. That numbness, that's not peace, it's spiritual erosion. Let me tell you, your standards are not just about performance, they're about identity. You don't keep your standards high because it makes you look good. You keep your standards high because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you refuse to empower anything that diminishes that identity. This isn't about being perfect. This is about being intentional, because life will give you what you settle for. If you settle for average, average is what you'll keep getting. If you allow disrespect, you'll keep receiving it. If you excuse undisciplined behavior, your future will be built on disorder. So stop telling yourself it's just a small thing. Nothing is small if it's shaping your character. Every tolerated excuse is a step away from your greatness. Every unchecked flaw is a foundation for future regret. But the good news, the moment you stop tolerating it, you stop empowering it. The moment you call it out, you begin to take your power back. You want to change your life. Start by raising your standards and defending them daily. Don't wait for the world to respect you. Train the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Show the world what you permit, what you pursue, and what you protect. Because you don't get what you want, you get what you allow, and what you allow will eventually define your life. We live in a world that celebrates moments of glory, moments of breakthrough, moments of achievement. We see athletes win championships, entrepreneurs build empires, artists rise to fame, and we applaud the highlights. But what we rarely see is what built those moments. What we rarely talk about is the hidden force behind every public victory: consistency. It's not what you do once in a while that shapes your life. It's what you do every single day. One act of greatness, no matter how powerful, cannot compete with steady, faithful discipline over time. Because the truth is, consistency always outweighs intensity. We've been trained to chase big wins, the dramatic weight loss, the overnight success, the viral moment, the instant transformation. But real life doesn't work that way. Growth doesn't respond to hype. Purpose doesn't unfold in a moment of emotion. Destiny is not achieved in a rush of adrenaline. It is built little by little, day by day, habit by habit. The person who goes to the gym once a month for 5 hours will never achieve what the person who shows up every day for 30 minutes will. The person who reads one book in a week-long burst and then stops for a year will never know what the daily reader knows. Because excellence isn't a sprint, it's a walk, repeated daily without applause. The world celebrates flashes of brilliance, but brilliance means nothing without endurance. Anyone can do something impressive once. The question is, can you show up even when no one is watching? Can you keep building when there's no reward in sight? Can you stay disciplined when there's no fire, no praise, no recognition, just you and the quiet rhythm of routine? Intensity is exciting. It makes you feel powerful for a moment, but consistency makes you powerful for a lifetime. Intensity fades when you're tired, but consistency keeps showing up even when you are. Intensity shouts. Consistency whispers, but in the end it is the whisper that wins. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack follow-through. They start strong but don't finish. They dream big but build nothing. And often it's not because they didn't try, it's because they tried in bursts and gave up when it got boring. But boring is where the magic happens. It's in the repetition. It's in doing it again and again and again. You want to see the future you've imagined, then respect the routine, protect the process. Don't underestimate the power of one disciplined hour repeated every day for a year. Don't ignore the power of writing one paragraph a day, of praying daily, of saving a little consistently. because compounded discipline creates compounded results. The strongest people are not the most emotional, they are the most consistent. They have mastered the art of quiet commitment. They don't need to feel like it, they just do it. Not because they have to, but because they understand who they are and where they're going. That's what separates those who arrive from those who only wish. Your destiny doesn't need one intense breakthrough. It needs daily obedience, steady progress, small steps repeated with faith. The spotlight will come, but only for those who are faithful in the shadows. So, if you feel tired, if you feel like quitting, if you wonder whether it's worth it, remember this. Greatness is not about what you do once. It's about what you do every day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because it is happening, slowly, silently, powerfully. That's the power of consistency. Your life doesn't change because you move to a new city, or switch jobs, or meet someone new. Your life changes when you begin to shape your environment with intention. Too many people wait for a better environment to show up before they change their behavior. But it doesn't work that way. The environment does not build your habits. Your habits build your environment. The first thing you must understand is this. You are a product of what you consistently surround yourself with. But before your environment influences you, you influence it. You build the conditions that eventually shape your choices. Every space you walk into, every atmosphere you dwell in is either pulling you forward or holding you back. But most of us don't realize. We designed that environment. We created the space that now creates us. If your room is full of clutter, your mind will reflect confusion. If your circle is full of gossip, you'll never speak purpose. If your schedule is full of distractions, you'll never hear clarity. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you've allowed an environment that was never built for your destiny. And if you don't take responsibility for shaping that space, it will shape you into someone you never planned to become. The habits you maintain, how you wake up, how you organize your time, how you spend your money, how you treat your space, how you use your phone, are all forming the atmosphere around you. And that atmosphere is silently telling you what is normal. That's the danger, because the moment something becomes normal, you stop questioning it. You stop noticing it, and then it starts shaping your identity. People often say, I'll get serious once I'm in the right place. Or I'll be focused once I find the right crowd. Or I'll be disciplined when life gets easier. But hear me clearly, waiting for your environment to fix your behavior is like waiting for a mirror to change your face. It doesn't work that way. If you want a better environment, you have to bring better habits into it. You must bring order, you must bring boundaries, you must bring focus, you must bring intention. When you shift your daily habits, you start redesigning the world around you. You start attracting clarity. You start creating momentum. You stop waiting for motivation and start building systems. And slowly, the environment around you begins to reflect the values inside you. That's when change becomes sustainable, because it's not coming from the outside in, it's coming from the inside out. Success is not something you bump into, it is something you set up. You set it up with the routines you practice, with the relationships you choose, with the voices you listen to, with the content you consume. These things are not neutral. They are forming the air you breathe, and whatever you breathe in, you eventually live out. So look around, audit your space. Is your environment aligned with your vision, or are you waiting for someone else to build the conditions for your growth? Take ownership, start small, clear the clutter, protect your energy, limit access to things that drain your focus. Build rituals that match your calling. Because when you intentionally shape the environment around you, it becomes easier to make the right choices within you. Greatness doesn't happen in random chaos. It happens in cultivated space. Create the space. The rest will follow. Everyone wants a better future. Everyone dreams of success, of purpose, of impact. But not everyone prepares for it. That's the dividing line. That's the difference between those who live by design and those who live by default. The future doesn't respond to wishes. It doesn't bend to good intentions. It responds only to preparation. You can hope all day. You can pray all night. You can talk about your goals with passion. But if you're not preparing, you're not positioning yourself to receive what you're asking for. A dream without preparation is just a fantasy. A goal without discipline is just noise. The world doesn't give you what you desire. It gives you what you're ready for. If opportunity knocked today, would you be ready? Would your mind be sharp enough to discern it? Would your skills be developed enough to handle it? Would your character be strong enough to sustain it? Because the future does not show up when you want it. It shows up when you're prepared for it. And if you're not ready, it will walk right past you quietly without warning. Preparation is not glamorous. It doesn't feel exciting. It happens in secret, behind closed doors, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching. It's the early morning routines, the late night study. The unseen reps, the long hours building something that no one understands yet. But that's where the future is built. In the invisible moments, not the visible ones. Some people are waiting for a breakthrough, but the truth is, a breakthrough can only land on prepared ground. You don't plant seeds in concrete. You prepare the soil, you break it, you till it, you water it. That's what your habits are doing. They're breaking the surface of your life, preparing it for what's coming. You don't chase harvest, you build for it, and the harvest comes to those who are ready to receive. There is no substitute for preparation. You can't skip the process and expect the product. Life doesn't hand you finished things. It hands you raw material, and it watches what you do with it. What you do when nothing seems to be happening is what determines whether anything will happen. Your habits of preparation are not wasted time. They are compound investments. The results may delay, but they will not deny. Most people want to arrive somewhere they've never prepared to be. That's why, when the opportunity finally comes, it crushes them. They wanted the platform, but not the preparation. They wanted the influence, but not the discipline. But without preparation, promotion becomes a burden, not a blessing. It exposes what you refuse to develop in private. Don't wait for the right moment. Train for it. Don't wish for the stage. Build the strength to carry it. The doors you're praying for may already be forming, but they won't open for the unready. Success is not waiting for your passion. It's waiting for your preparation. And when you prepare, doors open without you having to force them. So prepare in faith. Prepare when it's quiet. Prepare when it feels like no one sees you, because the future is not delayed. It's simply waiting for your readiness. If you're building, you're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not wasting time. You're sharpening the tools for a life you'll be proud to live. The future is already written in the habits you keep. You don't find it, you grow into it. And it only comes to those who are ready. Discipline is not about punishment. It's not about forcing yourself through routines or robbing yourself of pleasure. True discipline is about focus. It is the ability to remember what you truly want, even when the moment tries to make you forget. It's not the absence of desire, it's the presence of a greater one. Every day you are surrounded by distractions. Things that look good, feel good, offer comfort, ease, entertainment, but the danger isn't in the distraction itself. The danger is in forgetting what you're really after, forgetting the life you're building, forgetting the standard you've set, forgetting the dream that once kept you awake at night. That's when discipline begins to slip, not because you're weak, but because you've lost sight of what matters. Discipline is not the fight against temptation, it's the alignment with purpose. When you truly know what you want, when you're clear on your vision, your no becomes more powerful than your yes. You stop chasing everything and start protecting what matters most. You stop trying to impress and start trying to build. You stop reacting and start leading yourself. The reason most people struggle with consistency is not because they don't have the ability. It's because they forget the reason. And when you forget your reason, your routine becomes a burden instead of a bridge. You start resenting the very habits that are meant to take you higher. But when you remember your vision, when it's fresh, vivid, and alive, then discipline doesn't feel like sacrifice. It feels like service to your future. It's easy to stay disciplined when the fire is fresh, at the start of the year, at the beginning of a new goal, when emotions are high and energy is full. But discipline is truly tested when the emotions fade, when results are slow, when progress is invisible. That's when you must remember why you started. That's when your future calls you to stand firm. What do you really want? That's the question you must answer not once, but daily. Because life is always trying to make you settle. Every day, comfort will ask you to forget your calling. Fear will ask you to forget your strength. Delay will ask you to forget your progress. But your future demands that you remember. That you lock your eyes on what matters most and make decisions that honor that vision. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to remember, because remembering your why will anchor you when distractions try to sweep you away. Remembering your why will give your habits meaning and your effort purpose. That clarity will give you the strength to show up when it's hard, to keep going when it's slow, to stay focused when everything around you says to stop. Discipline is not something you force on yourself. It's something you practice out of love for who you're becoming. It's self-respect. It's saying, I'm worth the effort, my purpose is worth the struggle, my future is worth the discipline. When you live like that, your decisions gain weight. Your time gains value. Your energy is no longer wasted. You start moving differently, not because someone is watching, but because you are. So ask yourself daily, what do I really want? And then build a life that protects that answer. Because every choice you make is either taking you closer to it or further from it. Discipline isn't about willpower, it's about vision. And the clearer your vision becomes, the stronger your discipline will grow. When you remember what you want, you won't need to be pushed. You'll learn to lead yourself, and that's where transformation begins. Everybody wants a better future. We all dream of being more, doing more, having more. But the truth most people miss is this: your future is not something you decide once. It's something you create daily. You don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and then your habits decide your future. It sounds simple, but it's the very thing most people ignore. We are trained to think in goals, in big declarations, in future outcomes. I want to be successful. I want to be healthy. I want to make a difference. But none of those things come from wishing. They come from working. They come from routine. They come from small, repeated choices that seem ordinary in the moment, but become extraordinary in time. Your future is not waiting at the end of a motivational video. It's not hiding behind the next book you read. It's not in the next opportunity you're hoping to find. It's right in front of you, being built by what you choose to do today, again tomorrow, and the day after that. What time you wake up, what you do with your first hour, how you treat your body, how you manage your mind, how you respond to people, how you handle adversity, that's where the future is being shaped. Some people treat the future like a lottery ticket. They think if they dream big enough, pray hard enough, or wait long enough, something will magically shift. But life doesn't reward intention. It rewards alignment. And when your daily habits do not align with your desired future, your life will keep pulling you back to the level of your systems. Dreams without discipline only lead to disappointment. If you want to know where you're going, don't look at your goals, look at your habits. If you're not writing, you're not becoming a writer. If you're not saving, you're not building wealth. If you're not training, you're not becoming stronger. That may sound harsh, but it's not meant to discourage, it's meant to empower you. Because it means you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to start showing up differently today. That's where the power is. What makes this truth so powerful is that it puts the future back in your hands. You don't have to wait for a new year, a new job, a new relationship, or a lucky break. You can begin to shape your future with a decision you make this very hour, a small shift, a single habit, a new standard. One repeated action over time will do more for your life than 10 moments of inspiration. Change doesn't happen when you write a vision. It happens when you become the kind of person who lives that vision. And that person is built through repetition. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. But here's the good news: you can raise those habits. You can interrupt the old cycles. You can upgrade your routines. You can design systems that serve who you want to become. That's the kind of power you hold. You don't need to predict the future. You only need to design your days, because the days will become weeks. The weeks will become months, and those months will become your life, and one day someone will look at what you've built and call it success, but you'll know it wasn't a decision you made one time. It was what you did when no one was watching. You don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide everything else. Everyone wants to walk through big doors, the kind that open up to opportunity, impact, and influence. But very few recognize that those doors are usually found at the end of narrow, hidden hallways paved with small, daily actions that seem insignificant in the moment. The truth is, it's not the big moments that shape your life. It's the small ones, the ones that don't get noticed, celebrated, or praised. The ones where no one is watching but your future is still listening, because small doors lead to big rooms. We live in a generation that wants to skip steps. Everyone wants the stage without the silence, the results without the repetition, the recognition without the refinement. But elevation doesn't come to those who chase applause. It comes to those who steward the little things with excellence. Not because the world is watching, but because they know who they are and where they're going. It's easy to overlook the small door. It doesn't look impressive. It doesn't seem like it leads anywhere important. It might even feel like a waste of time, but that small door might be waking up early to read when you feel tired. It might be choosing patience instead of anger. It might be serving faithfully in a place that no one else values. And yet it's in those unnoticed decisions that greatness is born. The problem is, small doors require humility. They don't appeal to your ego. They test your consistency, not your charisma. They challenge your faith, not your popularity. But the ones who pass that test, who stay faithful to what seems small, will find themselves trusted with things much greater. You cannot walk into a big room unless you're willing to bend down and enter through a low doorway. Humility always precedes promotion. Some of the greatest opportunities in life are disguised as ordinary moments, and if you're always looking for something dramatic, you'll miss the divine. You'll miss the moment to grow because you were waiting for something that looked important. But importance doesn't always look like importance. Sometimes it looks like discipline, like silence, like sacrifice, like finishing the task you started even when you no longer feel excited about it. Success doesn't arrive fully formed, it unfolds. It builds itself through layers of decisions, small yeses, repeated daily, stacked upon each other until they carry the weight of something much bigger. The foundation of every great life is hidden in the habits that felt boring to build. But that's the cost of being faithful when it's quiet, consistent when it's hard, and focused when it's lonely. And here's the beautiful irony: what seems small now won't stay small forever. A small routine becomes a rhythm becomes a lifestyle becomes a legacy. The little things you're doing today might not feel like much, but they are constructing the character that can hold the weight of your future. The small door isn't the end of the path, it's the beginning of everything that's coming. So stop waiting for something massive. Stop asking when the big moment will come. It's already here, disguised as discipline, as routine, as the choice to do what's right even when it feels invisible. Because when you honor the small, you are proving that you can be trusted with the great. Big rooms are not for the lucky, they are for the ready, and readiness begins with what you do in the small. Don't overlook the small door. It's the entrance to everything you've been praying for, so don't despise the small doors. Don't rush past the quiet seasons. Don't underestimate the power of ordinary obedience. Because what looks small today may be the very thing shaping the strength, the wisdom, and the character you'll need tomorrow. The future does not open to the most talented, it opens to the most faithful. And the ones who honor the small will be trusted with the great. You were never called to chase rooms. You were called to be ready when the door opens. And when it does, when that small door finally swings wide, walk through it with confidence, knowing you didn't stumble into your moment. You built it, one small step at a time.